Coming to Shudder on April 18th, we have a new thriller film called Deadmail. Hey everyone, my name is Ryan. Thank you guys for clicking on this video. If you like early reviews like this on the channel, definitely hit that subscribe button, give the video a like, and comment below your thoughts on Deadmail. Now this film, it was directed by DeBoer and McConaghy, and I've never heard of their previous works. They did work together previously on another film, but I have never heard of that said film. The film stars Joe Fleck, Sterling Macer Jr., and Tomas Boykin. And it's about a ominous note that finds its way into a 1980s post office in which you have this deadmail investigator actually investigate where this note actually came from, and come to find out the guy was actually kidnapped. Now, I went into this film very fresh. I didn't know anything about it. The poster seemed like it was pretty decent for a film. All I ever hope out of a Shudder film is just to give me something really decent. If it blows me away, that's absolutely great, but all I ever ask is for a decent film. And I will say right off the bat, this film is a decent film that I could say that I enjoyed in parts. I'll first start off by saying that the positives of this film is that I really love the look of this film. It definitely feels like the 80s right away. As soon as you hit play, you know this feels like an 80s kind of film. It has quite a bit of grain. It definitely feels like it's in that time period. A lot of the colors are really washed out of the film. And also you really notice off the bat that this is a very synth kind of score that they throw into this film, and they have this play out through the entirety of the film. There's a lot of beep boop bop type of score that they have in this film, which I really appreciated. I think it really does kind of help the film in its element. We start off the film with a bang. You have this black man crawling out of a house, and you see him kind of all shackled up. He gets to a mailbox. He throws this note into the mailbox, and you have this guy just drag him away, and that's how we start. We then go into this post office, and we see these ladies going through and digging through all this mail, in which a lot of this mail, I guess it goes like unclaimed, and they have to fix the mail to actually get it to where it needs to go. Like the addresses can be messed up, certain items get lost, they have to go through it, and then they have this other black guy that goes through this, and he basically calls up this dude and kind of like narrows down like names. Like these ladies, they find this necklace, and so they need to actually find out like where the owner of this necklace actually is, and this guy basically investigates it. So that's pretty much his character, and we kind of follow his character for, I would say, like the first 25 minutes of the movie, and then we actually meet this creepy guy played by Joe Fleck, in which he comes into this room where this guy is actually investigating this supposed note that he found. There's blood all over the note, and he's just very curious, like if it's a prank or if it's really real. The guy comes in and he smacks him, I believe, with like a hole puncher, and he completely just kills him. Like he is dead. And we get a little bit of a backstory up to that point for about the first 25 minutes of the movie. Then after that, we get a little bit of glimpse of this Joe Fleck guy. He meets this black guy, in which he is trying to like start up his business of like keyboarding. He's trying to like make a motherboard, and he's trying to get all these different parts, but he says like Japan has like all the latest parts and he can only spend so much money. So this guy decides to basically just get with him and partner up with him, and he's like, hey, I can get you to your dream. Let's team up. Let's kind of make this a thing. You know, I'll help like pitch in the money, and you just work on this keyboard. So he works on this keyboard in his garage, and then after a while, we find out that this guy apparently got a partnership in Japan in which he's going to move there, but he doesn't tell his partner, and it pretty much pisses him off, and he's like, you know what, you're not going anywhere, and I'm going to basically just kidnap you and trap you in here. And that's really the basis of the movie. It really builds up to that point, and then about, I would say like the first like hour to 70 minutes, that's like the biggest buildup of the film, which I could say that I really did enjoy. I enjoyed kind of going through the motions of seeing like, how do we get to this point? Why did this guy actually do this? And the guy that kind of kidnaps him, he's kind of creepy in a way. I wouldn't say like he's like overly violent, but he has his moments where he is violent. We get a little bit of backstory about him, and I enjoyed that aspect of the film. The biggest thing for me about this film is about 70 minutes in, it starts to really slow down. Like the last like 35 minutes of this movie up to like probably like the last, I would say 10 minutes of the movie, it really, really slows down. It gets super slow, and it's like, okay, where are we going with this? And that's where this film, it's kind of in the negatives for me, because at the same time with this film being kind of entertaining for like the first hour and getting the backstory, it doesn't really do a whole lot with its characters. We don't really know a lot about this man that actually was captured, other than the fact that he is trying to build this keyboard, and we don't really know a lot of the backstory with this guy that's kidnapped him. I mean, we get a little bit here and there, we see him be a little bit violent here and there, but we don't know a lot about them, and I think that's kind of where this film, from a negative standpoint, I think they could have done a lot better job of kind of developing both those characters. I think they're very much underdeveloped and they don't really do a whole lot. And this whole kidnapping thing, I don't really think they do a ton with it either. There's not like a lot going on with that. It's not like he's really torturing him. And I thought that was interesting because in the beginning of this movie, which Shudder really never does this, there's a trigger warning about kidnapping and then some of the things that were in the film. And to me, this film isn't really like a big shocking film. Like there's not like a lot of shocking things that are happening in this film. It's kind of a slow type of film in a way, but you know, it builds up to its story to about the hour mark. Like it's going back in time and getting you to the point where we're at. But like I said, once it gets to that 70-minute mark, it really starts to go downhill, and I think that's where the runtime, it kind of wears out its welcome, and I want a little bit more with that, and I felt like towards like the last 15 minutes, certain little things that happen, it felt a little bit too easy. I mean, there's like a little bit of investigation with kind of what is going on, especially with like the two women that are in the beginning of the film that aren't really in the film that much. I mean, they're in like two scenes, I would say. They go into this investigation of kind of what's going on, and I enjoyed that to a point. I think it's entertaining. I just think there are certain points within that last 35 minutes where the film, it definitely could have brushed up a little bit, and it could have a little bit more character development, and could have been a little bit more entertaining. I think for me, like, this is one of those films that it is a film that is worth watching one time, but I don't know if it's something where I could say that I want to watch it more than once. Like I said, it has a very good aesthetic of the 80s, and you feel like you're in the 80s period. It's got the grain. It's got a lot of things, especially with the score. I think that it helps elevate certain portions. But I wouldn't say like this is like a big scary film. It's not like a bloody film. Sure, there's like blood here and there, but it's not a gory film by any means. And I don't really think it's a shocking film. And I'm really surprised. There's a trigger warning before this film actually started. But for me, when it comes down to it, as far as a score, I would give it a 2.5 out of 5. I think it's an okay watch. I think it's something that, you know, you can enjoy at home, watching at home, and just enjoying it for what it is. And it has some cool elements to it. But I wouldn't say it's like a great film. But overall, being a decent film and just enjoying certain aspects of it, I can say that I didn't have a bad time with this film. And I think overall, it's an adequate film to watch at least once. So those are my thoughts on Deadmail. What did you guys think about this film? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you just think it was kind of meh? Leave your comments down below and let me know. And thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.